Your key activities are what you have to do in order to be successful at your business. There's some things that you're going to have to do yourself, but there's some things that you're not going to have to do yourself. And there's some things you're probably better off not doing by yourself. This is where partnerships come in. Why partnerships? Well, you can't do it all yourself. You can't be best at something, and you can't be best at everything. You can be good at some things, you can be not so good at other things, and you can be best at a few things. So focus on your core competencies, the things you're best at or the things you have to do, and do the rest through partners. In fact, you probably shouldn't even try to do some things because there are others that do it better. If you were going to set up your own manufacturing facility nowadays for a consumer electronics device, you're probably wasting your time, at least in the early days. There are worldwide supply chains of manufacturers coming from Shenzhen in China to you in the US who can do it a zillion times better than you, every aspect of it. And they're great at it. Why not let them do it? Focus on what you're good at, defining the product, getting it out, making it viral, and let them worry about how to build it cost effectively and deliver it in a timely fashion. And finally, there's partnerships and as a matter of optimization. If you're doing something on a small scale and your potential partner's doing it on a big scale, they can do it a whale of a lot cheaper than you can. They can have a faster time to market for changing, and you can have a more efficient use of capital so that you're freed up to use your resources for what you're best at. Partnerships, a lot of them have unique resources. They have a broader product offering than you might have. They might have unique customer knowledge or expertise. They might have access to new markets that you don't have access to. And they might have other elements of the complete solution. If your complete solution requires great returns, you don't want to be operating a fleet of brown trucks. There's UPS. They operate a perfectly good fleet of brown trucks. Use them. And finally, there's partnerships and risk mitigation. If you can get into a standards agreement with potential partners where you all agree on what standards should be used in your market and business, you're making your risks a lot lower with a minimal expenditure in terms of partnership. Partnerships come in different types, and there's sort of a hierarchy of them, but they're exclusive or non-exclusive. There's strategic alliances where you declare eternal fealty to one another and you're going to work together, best friends forever. There's joint business development where you work on a specific project together to build a business. There's coopetition, which is a situation where you're competing with someone, but you're also cooperating with them. That's what I was talking about with standards bodies. A lot of competitors will meet on a standards committee and do partners work. They'll work together in a comradely fashion in order to hash out a standard that everyone can use. Your key suppliers are often your partners, or they better be. And finally, there's channel partners for distribution and delivery of your product or service to your customers. With all of these partnerships, the question is, what's the motivation? There's two aspects to that. One is who has leverage. Typically, as a small startup, you don't have much leverage over your partners. They're going to be big players. They may have a very cookie cutter way of dealing with small fry like you. There's not much way to gain leverage. So you have to sort of take a frank assessment of that in terms of figuring out how to motivate your partner. Given that, you still try to align your motivations. You have to, when you're selling with partners, you have to figure out how to get their sales force to sell what you've got. Often that means working very closely with their marketing and sales teams to get into the compensation structure for their salespeople. Because if the salespeople aren't being compensated for pushing your product, they're not going to push your product. Customer support with partners, same deal. You have to incent them to offer customer support that's as good as if it were their own company. So when you have some third-party call center that's taking level 1 calls for you, turn them into a customer touch point if you can. Incent them by giving them a piece of whatever they sell to customers who call up. It'll turn a source of anguish into a source of bliss. And then finally, there's channel conflict, where you have two different sets of partners and they're conflicting with each other. This used to be a big issue in retail and the web. It still is to some extent, but it's something that you have to work out when you have different channels. You have to harmonize them. Finally, you have to worry about motivation with partners who might turn into acquirers. It may well be the case that in your industry, the way acquisition happens is you partner with someone, then you get into an exclusive partnership with them, then that turns into an acquisition discussion, and then it turns into an actual acquisition. We had a guy at Valhalla named Kevin Green who said that was every company should follow a playbook where they systematically developed their acquirers into partners. So you start out with them at the lowest possible level, you do some mutual sales together, you get on a standards body together, you get to know them, you deepen the relationship, you find out who the decision makers are, and before you know it, they're offering to buy you for a hefty premium. So you have to take a long-term view of partnership motivation as well. How do you discover what your key partnerships are for your business? Get out of the building. Figure out what's at the core of your business and what's not. And look at tech and outsourcing as an example. A lot of companies, the founder is not a technical person. They want to get something built quickly, and so they make a deal with a contract technology building organization, a software development group that's local to them, maybe even an offshore organization, somebody who's going to build their technology for pay. Is this a good idea? I sort of generally advise non-tech founders to try to recruit a tech partner on board and not make it a partnership. Of course, in a case where tech is core to the value proposition, it's more important, but I think it's important in almost every case, and I'd give serious consideration to this. If you're building a fitness companion, yeah, tech is core, and you need someone on board who shares your vision. If you have a fitness booking service, listen, booking services are kind of a commodity. Maybe you could have some elegant wrinkle on it that would make people better, make people enjoy using it better, but probably not. So that's a case where you might incline more toward outsourcing it. So assess how key the thing is to your own business, and then that drives the decision to partner. So the main takeaways are: partner where you aren't best, and consider the motivation of your partners. Why would they help you? How could you help them? How to get them to focus on your business? And in the case where they might acquire you, how do you get them to turn that a brief dating relationship into a marriage? Thank you.